So by now you've probably heard, and if you haven't, you've been living under a bit of a rock, but Trevor Lawrence finally got paid $275 million. There's been a ton of conversation as to whether or not Trevor Lawrence earned that payday. And to be fair, that's a valid conversation to be had. However, after looking over both his contract and other contracts, I've also come to the conclusion that that conversation isn't really all that relevant to the Jaguars. Like, this was always going to happen. He was always going to get paid. It was just a matter of what the final number was. It might have been slightly higher than I actually thought he would end up getting, but paying him now, and others have mentioned this too, but paying him now is a team-friendly thing to do, because the longer you kick that can down the road, the more expensive Trevor Lawrence gets. And also, the structure of the cap number actually does benefit the team a little bit. So I want to talk through a little bit of why I think not only did he possibly earn more than maybe he has actually earned on the field with his play, but this is still team-friendly. So jumping straight over to the chart here, on the teal line you have Trevor Lawrence. This is his cap number. This is the number at the end of the day that's going to dictate what the team can and cannot do when it comes to signings, especially in free agency, and then sometimes via trades. This is the number that really, really matters to the team at the end of the day, from season to season. And what you'll notice is in 2024, 2025, 2026, even into 2027, Trevor Lawrence is not an expensive quarterback. Really, even 2028, he's not particularly expensive. So one thing this deal does for the Jaguars, this gives the Jaguars a nice long runway before Trevor Lawrence really gets expensive, to the point where in 2029, 2030, Trevor Lawrence should be basically in the prime of his career. He should have, hopefully, fingers crossed, developed more as a quarterback in the NFL. Hopefully the stability around him allows him to do just that. Hopefully having good weapons allows him to develop. We all know that last year the one big disappointment, at least to me, other than the defense struggling, was the offense's inconsistency. Hopefully moving forward, the offense can kind of get those things figured out. Hopefully the running game can develop a little bit more, give Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the offense something to lean on instead of putting everything on the passing game. Hopefully those red zone woes can go away, and hopefully we see progression. And this allows the Jaguars to sort of allow for that progression while still being able to spend good money on players and weapons around Lawrence. Then when he gets into the prime of his career, 2029, 2030, undoubtedly expensive years through this contract. There's no getting around that. Those are going to be expensive years for the quarterback position. However, we also know that the salary cap will continue to rise through this time. So by getting him under contract now and locked into a long-term deal, this gives the Jaguars a lot of stability at the quarterback position, and frankly, over the next 5 or so years, it gives them a lot of money to play with and to add weapons elsewhere on the team. It's very team-friendly, and when you compare Lawrence's cap number to these other expensive quarterbacks around the league, what you should hopefully already notice by just a glance at this chart, Trevor Lawrence's cap number is a lot lower than a lot of these elite quarterbacks. Now, undoubtedly, moving forward, when you get down the road by a few years, this contract may be restructured. And it may be restructured in a way to provide the team some relief from that cap number. But again, when some of these other quarterbacks, you'll notice that their cap numbers plummet to zero. That's because their contracts run out at various points. When they get around to their new contracts, their contracts are going to be huge. Like, this number is one that continues to accelerate because the quarterback position is so important. So I really do think that Lawrence's performance on the field probably does not quite warrant the number that he was paid in a vacuum. But on the market, the quarterback market, where the alternative is to go back into the quarterback wilderness, where the Jaguars have not had a really good long-term quality starter, David Garrard was pretty good for a short time. But really, Mark Brunell was the only other truly franchise caliber quarterback the Jaguars have ever had. Blake Bortles was decent for a short period of time. David Garrard was good for a short period of time. Trevor Lawrence looks like he's going to be at least a solid starter for hopefully years to come. And when presented with the option of either going back into the quarterback wilderness or just paying the guy a huge number, but a huge number that 2-3 years from now isn't going to look like it's such a gigantic number. I think the Jaguars probably made the right decision, and frankly, I think the contract is more team-friendly than we're giving it credit for being. So that's just my thoughts on Trevor Lawrence's new contract. Let me know your thoughts in those comments down below. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video.